the teachers union did a study of all the teachers and asked them how many of them had been assaulted by their students. And it said 51%.
Wow.
51%. Can you believe that?
Even higher.
I can believe that because I have a sister-in-law who taught down in, I probably shouldn't say, but she taught in a nearby county. She's seen this kind of action. And I've seen teachers retire because of that.
I've seen a patient that just finally pulled out because she'd been beaten up so many times. She said the girls had attacked her.
They're girl cut fights, they call them. Dad, think about it. When we were in school, all of us talked about this before the show. We had corporal punishment. I remember seeing a great big paddle in the principal's
remember
office,
that too.
But I never got paddled, thank goodness. But my teacher, if I would talk too much, imagine that, they would take a ruler and smack it on your hand. If you did that nowadays, oh, my Johnny was hit by the teacher. And well, that's what's wrong.
You need some kind of discipline.
Yeah, because I didn't want to get by the big paddle, so I quit talking. Can't touch them.
America used to have the best schools in the world. It's an organization that tests students from every country. We are about the worst in the Western world. That's because we've gotten rid of God, and we've gotten rid of discipline, and we've gotten rid of faith in God and prayer. And so everything has gone haywire.
I was going to school when the dinosaurs were around, so
Yeah, me too.
that's okay. This kind of situation where you would assault a teacher that time when I was in high school.
Never heard of.
Never heard of. Never heard of. And it said 51% of the teachers in Jefferson County have been assaulted by their students.
But think about it. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. The leaders of the country are, in a sense, doing to our president in a different manner what the kids are doing because it's lack of respect.
It's a lack of respect.
Of authority.
They can't stand it that they didn't get their way.
There is no respect for authority. No rule of law.
All the crime. We get 100 people murdered in Jefferson County every year or more. Isn't that right?
Close.
Yeah.
The governor asked people to go down and pray in the inner city because so many people have been murdered every year in Jefferson County. Then, of course, we have the drug epidemic. They say 50% of the high school students will experiment with drugs. It's just a terrible thing. That's because we've gotten rid of God in our public schools, and we've raised a whole generation that believe in the humanistic worldview that there's really nothing right and wrong. There's no God.
No absolutes.
No absolutes.
Transgender, there's no absolute. They don't want to say there's a sex of a male. There's actually unlimited amount of sexual.
In between. We need to get back to God. Did I say that right?
I think that's about the only thing you can say that actually works.
Hey, James Madison, was it John that said this Constitution and a moral republic are
the only way it's going to work?
I believe that was Adams.
John Adams. It says the only way that freedom and republic would work with a moral people.
And it's true. And so the left-wingers got their folks on the Supreme Court and said, oh, no, we don't want God in our schools anymore. So they got rid of prayer, the Ten Commandments, the Bible, creation science. And that's what we're left with.
And teaching the Quran, and adopt Muslim name. I'm not going to try to bash the person if you're Muslim, but we were founded on Christian principles.
Absolutely.
And when you have students, I think it was in Texas, and parents uproar, that was several years ago. They're still trying to do it in Minnesota now. They're still trying to teach that.
Got to turn back to God. One way is to get out and vote for godly people. Of course, we're still in limbo about this last election, what really happened, and was it fraudulent or not? And we're hoping to get to the bottom of this. We talked with Beaver.
He's on that Kentucky election, whatever. They went ahead and verified it.
Oh, yeah.
Verified the election. They went ahead and did that, saying that there was no fraudulent behavior. That's how the news is portraying it.
I think we showed some of that video a time or two ago about how there was a video on the YouTube, I believe, with
Millennial Millie.
And they said they had the proof that the Kentucky elections were fraudulent.
This state gave too much opportunity to test. If you want to say that Governor Bevin lost, that's fine. But if he did lose, there was enough opportunity there for them to test for what's going to happen in 2020.
All these dead people on the rolls.
My husband was still on there.
It's something wrong. And they were taken to court, and Grimes was told, get rid of all of those dead people on the voting rolls, because if you know that John Smith is dead, you can go in and sign his name and vote for John Smith.
Yep, you can.
And it's terrible. Then they turn right around and put the dead people back on again.
Inactive status.
Yeah, it'd be either that or somebody that hadn't voted in a long time. Why should you take someone off even if they hadn't voted in a long time?
I don't know, but the logic of it doesn't even make sense to me. For a person who is dead, if they have to issue you a death certificate and you have to wait a number of days for that and it's an official record, why isn't it that they can't
take you off the voting roll?
It should be an easy filter to go through. You have a Social Security number.
These kind of reforms, I'm hoping that Michael Adams, you're listening, Michael, we want you.
We need you.
Clear this stuff up.
But it's terrible that Kentucky has dead people on the voting roll.
Go a step further. I had a friend, I'm not going to mention her name, so I'm not for sure if she filled out an affidavit or not, but her daughter-in-law was from another country, and she just became a citizen a year and a half ago, something like that. But this was years ago, she was telling me, before her daughter-in-law became a citizen, because she married her son, my friend's son, and then every year she'd go in there and she'd see her name, and she goes, I wonder why your name's on there. And she goes, I don't know, but she never voted because she knew she wasn't supposed to. And so the only thing everybody can think of is when she went and got a driver's license. And I remember there was a talk show host, I'm not sure which one, I don't want to name the name, but I was listening to it on the way, I think got me something to eat. He said that, and Allison Grimes was on there, the Secretary of State, and said that we don't put driver's license people on the voter rolls. And I called in because I said, yes, you do. And so the person said, are you calling our Secretary of State a liar? I said, I'm just telling you what I know. You can bring the assumption to yourself, but it's obvious that they do.
Every year you get a new driver's license or renew it.
Every 4 years.
Whatever it is, then you could be on there every 4 years. You could be on there again.
No, I don't think they put you double yet. I've never seen my name double on there.
Well, I know.
Well, I wouldn't put anything past them.
We need more safeguards. Unfortunately, we have the best of times and the worst of times right now.
Well, Judicial Watch sued the state of Kentucky and Grimes because they had dead people on the voter rolls.
And people that weren't supposed to be from their voter records. DMV.
Illegal immigrants.
They had to sue her in order to get her to do her job, which is to take the dead people off.
And now our newly elected governor and her went back to court, and the judge overturned it and allowed them to put them back on the roll.
I know. See, then we got all of these problems with our school, academic achievement, drugs, murders, crime. All this stuff is going on. There's so much corruption. We need to get back to having the rule of law, like you said, and things like that.
Now, I want to make a point. I don't know how much time we got here.
Plenty.
I want to take it up even to the highest levels, up in the Trump administration. If you've been following all of this impeachment stuff, which I can only take so much of it.
Me too.
I can really only watch so much of it. It doesn't even follow basic law. It does not follow the defendants, doesn't get the right to due process. But one of the things, to me, that's a sham. And I think what they keep saying on radio is it's a circus, and it really is a circus. But on beyond that, I had actually come up with some exposure to, this is from Glenn Beck, but others have covered this too. People in the Foreign Service, in the State Department, are somewhat taking their own actions and not necessarily doing the bidding of the President of the United States.
He's our commander-in-chief and our leader.
Here is one example of that. President Trump's policy was he was not going to give the Palestinian Authority any money whatsoever because they haven't changed.
It's murdering people.
No, this doesn't have anything to do with the Ukrainians. Okay. And so his policy was, we're not going to do that. Well, guess what? They still got half the money.
Really?
Now, how does that happen? That means that people are not following out his orders.
I was watching Glenn Beck earlier this morning, and he said that the deep state controls a lot of this.
Yes.
And they go around the president, and the president may try to do what's best for the country, but the deep state, which are some of these
James Comey, Clapper, Pelosi,
they
Schumer.
do what they want. They just thumb their nose at the president and say, well, we're going to give money to the communists whether you like it or not.
Under the Obama administration, I don't think they gave any money to the Ukrainian in that.
That's exactly right. Well, they gave them blankets.
Blankets. Well, I'm talking about
blankets.
Yes. When they were attacked, they gave them blankets.
But they were saying that we don't want to give them. Now they're saying Trump did it, that he's in favor with Russians. That doesn't make any sense because Obama didn't give them the money because he didn't want to get Putin mad. So it's just the opposite. They're saying him for what they actually didn't do or did do. They spin it. That's perfect. Drives me crazy.
On top of that, all this impeachment stuff about this one supposed phone call. And the thing about it is, they ended up getting the weapons that they needed to stop the Russian tanks.
Exactly.
They didn't get those. Their country.
Yeah, they did not get those weapons under the Obama administration.
Right.
If you look at it, just on the face of it, President Trump just wanted to make sure that the government that was getting the money and getting the weapons was on the up and up.
And not on side with the Russians. That's all he was wanting, but yet they're turning around.
They have terribly embarrassed the Ukrainian government, who right now, from what I can see and understand, is actually trying to get all the corruption out of their government.
Right.
Oh, and I heard this too, and this was on Rush. That'll be the source today. That they started the investigation, the new Ukrainian president that wasn't supposed to be corrupt, started the investigation on the Biden issues well before July 25th. It was back in March.
Yes.
I just heard that last night on Hannity. A bunch of stuff is coming out, and by December 9th, they're supposed to be doing some convictions by the Attorney General, William Barr. So it's going to be interesting. Taking a long time.
The chickens are coming home to roost.
Oh, gosh. Who was it that said that? You know who said that, don't you?
Who?
Hillary.
Famously, I think it was Obama's black pastor.
That's right. You're my right.
I think that's been said more than once.
Oh, it's been said once. He doesn't own it.
But he said GD America, which broke my heart, and all this horrible thing. They're filled with venom and hate. We need to pray for them. We need to pray. I texted Hillary today, or I twittered her. She came up on my Twitter earlier this morning because I go through stuff before we have the program, and one of the things I saw, she said, I cannot wait till we get this all taken care of. And finally I said, I tweeted her, and I don't know how I got her on my thing. I've never seen her. I said, we pray that you will be open to God. What's truth, godly righteousness? Because one day, if you're not held accountable here, you will be when you meet your Creator. She'll probably put a hitman on me.
Okay, you don't have any plans to kill yourself, right?
Exactly. But I did tweet her, whether it got to her or not.
This video of the student pushing their teacher, I just still can't get over that. And then the study that was done in Jefferson County that 51% of the teachers have been attacked by their own students.
Well, it all comes to lack of respect and love of human people. I want to do what I want to do, lack of order. That's what the Congress is doing right now. They're showing the American people and our youth that it's okay to be out of order, not to give your president due process, and that's where we come to. God's not superior. God isn't matter anymore.
Nothing right and wrong.
Nothing right and wrong. Like John said one time, was it no absolute?
This is on WDRB if somebody wants to pull it up. And it's called...
What did it say? Student?
Iroquois, Students versus Teacher, Fight at Iroquois High School, WDRB.
Not change the subject, but if anybody has any incidents that happened during the election, please call our office. We will get you in touch with the person.
502-893-2444. 502-893-2444.
Feel like your vote was
if you saw something underhanded, if they can control the elections, they can control the whole country, it seems to me. They can put their people in authority. And we need God-fearing people in authority and people that are going to follow the Constitution and honor God. So we need that very badly. That's the take-home message. As you can see this on your internet, student versus teacher fight at Iroquois, Iroquois, I believe, high school, WDRB. You can see that. And
It's in Louisville, Kentucky.
And if you know of any shady things that happened during the election, this is the time to call us about it. It's area code 502-893-2444. Try to get it to authorities that we're going to look into all of this.
New group that started, Citizens Election something. It's that group. Yeah.
There was a lot of problems with this election, and we're trying to put them all together and see what can be done about it.
We do have proof but every time I hear a new thing, verified the election.
Fraud, yeah.
No, they verified it. They went ahead and made it real.
Canvas.
They actually made the elections verified. They made it real. It is now confirmed, official. There's a word for it. But anyway, on the news, I've been hearing it all over the last couple of days because they just did it yesterday, made it official. And they show there was no wrongdoing. I'm like,
the truth will come out.
Even our local news are using propaganda stuff instead of saying the truth, that there could have been some fraud. They could have said it that way. They said,
Still haven't figured it all out.
Yeah.
I want to thank John Brewer, Cindy Marlow, and thank you for listening, and tune in again next week for the rest of the news. Hello, and welcome to the rest of the news. We have a really special program here. It's sort of what you would call an earthquake program, where we're going to talk about a movie, and our special guest is Matt Singleton.
Hey, everybody.
This movie, we hope we can show it to you. It's called Seattle, meaning Seattle, Washington, is Dying. D-Y-I-N-G, Dying. Think we can get that going?
Yeah, let's go watch it.
This is a picture of Seattle, Washington. And there's in the background a cardiac monitor that's sort of fading out. Seattle is dying. And they're talking about all these homeless people in Seattle. Here they are. They can't sit up. They're lying down.
Now, some of this is part of the national epidemic. We have a national epidemic of drug abuse, and alcohol abuse, and things.
Let me ask you something. What if Seattle is dying and we don't even know it?
What's going on is the fact that nobody knows what to do with these situations in these more secular societies. And Seattle is a very unique place because in Seattle, they're welcoming all this homelessness.
This story is about a seething, simmering anger that is now boiling over into outrage. It is about people who have felt compassion, yes, but who no longer feel safe, no longer feel like they are heard, no longer feel protected.
Real disaster. You can see why they said Seattle is dying.
It is about lost souls who wander our streets, untethered to home or family or reality, chasing a drug which in turn chases them. It is about the damage they inflict on themselves, to be sure, but also on the fabric of this place where we live.
There's garbage everywhere. I'll just mention it. There's no restrooms being used. They just go right on the sidewalk. Bowel movement, anything, it all goes right on the sidewalk.
This story is about a beautiful jewel that has been violated, and a crisis of faith amongst a generation of Seattleites falling out of love with their home. There is another part of this story, too. It's about a solution, an idea for a city that has run out of them. And I ask again, what if Seattle is dying and we don't even know it?
And this guy is saying that he's fed up with the government being irresponsible.
He's a local store owner.
Shoplifting is continuous. And a lot of the businesses are going out of business because of the shoplifting.
I drive my 12-year-old's carpool through Yesler when we do carpool, and it's a good talking point about what they're seeing, what we can do to help, how we can make a difference. And honestly, at this point, I don't have a good answer for how we can make a difference.
And a lot of this, we are seeing a plague in these liberal cities. You can find places here where there is that. I've seen a couple places.
In Louisville?
Oh, yeah, near where I live. Now, they're kind of hidden off a little bit, kind of go into the alleyways a little bit, and then you'll start to find them. They try to keep them off in front of people.
The last 5 to 10 years, it's not the place that I grew up in, and it's been really sad.
Matt Campbell lives and works in Seattle. He's raising a family, and like many others, he's mad.
Kind of imagine what he has to go through, being a victim of crime.
Crime is rampant.
It's gotten to a point where I'm embarrassed of it. I don't want to have my friends and family come here anymore.
People didn't used to use the word embarrassing about Seattle, but if you listen closely, you'll hear it a lot now.
It's embarrassing. This is one of the most beautiful regions in the entire world, and right now, with lack of a better word, it looks like shit, and it's embarrassing.
Well, everybody's moving out of Seattle.
They're doing crimes there, though. They're going off, doing this stuff, and the police are not able to enforce the laws.
Well, they're able to, but the liberal Democrats won't let them.
This is Mehrdad Derek Shande. He runs an upholstery shop in Ballard near the Burke-Gilman Trail. See if you can't feel his frustration.
This is not right.
Out his window, he looks at this.
Oh, they're human beings. Yes, I'm a human being too.
Customers coming to his shop see the same thing.
I have known cops from Compton, Watts, South Central. They have some power in their hand. Here you see a bunch of twinkle toes running around here. What the heck? Because they run the city like that. They're having problems. They're not having enough authority.
There were fires set outside his shop this past summer, and Mr. Derek Shande does not blame police. He believes their power has been stripped away.
The city mayor doesn't give the cops authority. That's the problem. We need somebody with some weights and tell them, it's not legal living on the sidewalk. It's city ordinance. It's not legal living here. Why can't we enforce the law?
Oh, man.
Both in their actual ability to enforce, and then when it comes to the courts, where they get just let right back out on the street.
The left-wing judges just don't lock anybody up. And this is not just Seattle, but the entire West Coast.
Now here they are petitioning the city council.
Last May 2nd at a town hall meeting in Ballard, simmering anger boiled over into all-out rage.
And it's a joke. See, that's why it's so important to be able to vote.
So why do we see so many people living outdoors?
Will you manage these camps, and will you enforce the law?
There has evolved a profound disconnect, and rarely has it been more vividly laid out.
He's yelling at them.
They're telling them, hey, call 911 if you have a problem. Everything will...
That's a joke.
Then in this exchange.
If property crime is committed, violence is committed, you need to call 911.
Here we get the response.
And the police...
You've lost all credibility when you say... You said 2 words. You said, call 911. Do you understand that the police have told us to vote you all out so that they can do their jobs? And you're telling us to call 911? You're smiling. You think it's funny? You think it's funny the way we're living?
The way we're living. In beautiful Seattle, people are angry, furious about the way we are living.
No, 911 is a joke.
Basically, they're telling them to vote you all out of office.
The police are telling them the whole problem is the liberal Democrat government. If you want to survive, you better vote them out of office.
So many times Christians think you can't fight City Hall. They're not fighting City Hall.
They fight the devil. I think that's it.
Let's look for a moment at property crimes for the 20 biggest cities in the country. New York City in 2017 had 1,448 property crimes per 100,000 residents. Los Angeles was just over 2,500. Chicago, 3,000.
This is just showing that Seattle has even higher crime rate than Louisville, which has a high crime rate. Over 100 people murdered every year. This video is showing what's going on all around the country.
But yeah, as you were saying, even in the city of Louisville, with over 100 homicides, 12 to 1,500 people dying of ODs every year. The homelessness is going up. But this whole system has got it where you have lawlessness.
Absolutely lawlessness.
And the way they do this is that they kind of hoard their elites into gated communities, and they make sure that the police are defending them. But the rest of the people are there to suffer, and the rest of the businesses have to suffer because they don't want small businesses growing to the point where they can actually attain wealth.
It seems to me that they don't care about the little guy. If you're a multi-billionaire, then they'll protect you because they want you to donate to them or something. But the average citizen is in big trouble. Now, the important thing when I see a movie like this is we never had this before. We never had drugs in the schools or anything like that until they took prayer out of the public schools.
We've let school become something to where it has an ownership of society. Meanwhile, we've destroyed any ownership that the church has of society or that families have of society.
And the result is right here in front of your eyes, that the culture is dying because there's no law and order. It's just a disaster.
It just becomes bigger and bigger hypocrisy. I've got a Facebook friend out in Canada. She was showing me this footage where in the universities, these guys were hurling buckets of poop as a joke from the top of buildings onto people. They got arrested, and a lot of people don't realize feces is a toxic substance. Extremely dangerous.
Where was this?
This was Canada. I'd like to say it was Toronto. This is kind of something that's kind of growing as an epidemic. The fact is, you go ahead for 50 years telling kids that they're nothing but monkeys. High school, they said, you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Oh, let's have a new sexual revolution and all that kind of stuff. But as they're doing that, they used to make jokes about this. You go to the zoo and the monkeys will throw their poo. Well, guess what they're doing now? The people who've been told that they're monkeys are throwing their poo. What happens when the joke becomes reality? It doesn't become so funny anymore.
The chickens are coming home to roost.